I've reached over 1000 levels on my Hardcore Ironman now and completed a fair amount of quests. Some of these quests I enjoyed and others I wish didn't exist. I was thinking about what my favourite early game quests were, and it got me wondering what actually are the best quests to do on a new Hardcore Ironman account. This is so subjective though, and I didn't fancy angering the entire old school player base, so I decided to take all opinion out of it and ask ChatGPT, which cannot form a subjective opinion, which are the most popular early game quests for Hardcore Ironman. Then I was interested in the order it would put these quests, so I created a tier list and asked it to rate them using an S to D tier ranking system. So let's get into it. I initially asked ChatGPT if it understood the difference in a normal and a Hardcore Ironman account. It said it did, but it also included this part about limited bank storage, which I don't think is true. Isn't that just Ultimate Ironman? Anyway, ChatGPT said that the choice of early game quests for Hardcore Ironman was guided by the need for safety, essential rewards, and skill advancement, and it gave the following 10 quests as the most popular for Hardcore Ironman. I'm not sure if it was ranking them 1 to 10 in terms of popularity or not, but number 1 was Cook's Assistant. It said this was a popular quest because it was simple, quick, and provided a cooking boost that was useful for making your own food. That's a valid point for a Hardcore Ironman account for sure, and with it taking place in Lumbridge where all accounts start, I can definitely see this being a popular beginner's quest. Next up, it said the Restless Ghost because it gave a significant prayer boost. I checked the optimal quest guide for Ironman accounts and it was 4th. I'm not sure prayer XP is really that important for early game hardcore accounts because you aren't typically fighting or using prayer for quite a while. Anyway, number 3 was Ernest the Chicken. It said it was popular because it provided early coins and was necessary for other quests, but the wiki says the only quest it is required for is Animal Magnetism. I haven't completed that quest yet, but it's definitely what I'm trying to work towards because that backpack seems very handy for Ironman accounts. The chicken quest is really short though, so I can see why people like doing it as one of their first quests. In number 4 we have Sheep Shearer because it provides early crafting XP and is quick to complete. I mean, it's not wrong, it is pretty quick. It's also one that's right in Lumbridge, which is handy for beginner accounts. Rune Mysteries was number 5, and the reasoning for this is because it unlocks rune crafting. But this quest actually also unlocks the ability to use lamps and books of knowledge from random events, and I think that's a pretty nice unlock, especially early game when the XP drops from those will seem huge. Dork's quest was up next in number 6 for the significant boost it gives to your mining XP and the access it provides to Dork's Anvil. Personally, I didn't find the use of the Anvil very relevant early on as it was easier to get to the ones in Lumbridge and Varric, but the jump straight to 10 mining is a nice bonus of this one. Number 7 was Witch's Potion, and the reason was because of his magic XP boost. It only provides 325 XP, so I'm not sure it'll get you very far, but it certainly is a very easy quest to do. Imcatcher was in 8th place, also for the early magic XP, and it also gives the useful Amulet of Accuracy. This amulet is pretty good in the early game, but as far as I'm aware, most hardcore accounts go to Wintertop before they start attacking things to avoid getting their health up too much. I'm not sure ChatGPT really took that into account with these quests. In 9th place, it put X marks the spot because it was a simple quest that gave some starting money and flexible XP. The Antique Lamp is a nice reward, and it's another quest that you can start right in Lumbridge. That's fair enough. The last quest was Priest in Pearl, and its reasoning was because of the access it gave to Mauritania and the prayer XP drop. But the optimal quest guide has this one in 33rd place for Ironman. And again, I think there's a lot of better early game quests for Hardcore Ironman account. I actually can't see this one being that popular. Now that it's told me what it thinks are the 10 most popular early game quests for Hardcore Ironman players, I asked it to use the S to D tier ranking system, and then I made a tier list based on its responses. Let's start at the bottom in D tier. It only put one quest here, and it was Sheep Shearer. I asked it to provide an explanation for each of its rankings. And for this one, it said that the rewards were minimal compared to the other quests here, and it didn't offer as much progression. Moving on to C tier, it put Ernest the Chicken here because it was necessary for several other quests, but wasn't directly beneficial in terms of XP. It also put X marks the spot in C tier because the XP reward wasn't as significant as other quests, but it also provided some coins as a nice bonus. First up in B tier, we have Witch's Potion, with the reasoning that it offers a good magic XP boost and that it is a safe and quick quest to complete. And it also put Imcatcher in B tier because of the magic XP boost and the beneficial Amulet of Accuracy, but it noted how it could be a time-consuming and tedious quest because of the RNG element. In A tier, it put Rune Mysteries, and it stated that this was because unlocking rune crafting was essential for Hardcore Ironman players, and that this quest also allowed for the critical gameplay mechanics such as magic training and teleportation. Then second in A tier, we had Doric's quest for its significant mining XP boost and access to Doric's Anvil for early game smithing. And it also put a third quest in A tier, which was Priest in Peril, the reason being it unlocked Mauritania and provided prayer XP. It actually noted that this quest involved combat, which is risky for early level Hardcore Ironman, but it thinks that the risk is manageable with preparation. That leaves 2 for S tier. First up is Cook's Assistant because it is an extremely simple and quick quest and an ideal starting point for any Hardcore Ironman. It provides easy cooking XP and is helpful for early game food prep. And finally, the Restless Ghost is also an S tier quest for the significant prayer XP reward. Interestingly, it talks about raising prayer levels without combat, which is arguably what most Hardcore Ironman players want to do, and ChatGPT thinks that this quest offers a substantial prayer boost with minimal risk. So there we have it. This is what the final tier list looks like. The most popular quests among early level Hardcore Ironman players, based on the information that ChatGPT has available anyway. Personally, I would make a few changes to this. I'd swap out a few quests for things that ChatGPT didn't actually include. Druidic Ritual didn't even make the cut, but but it unlocks the Herblore skill, and I think that should be at least A tier. I'm knocking it down from S because you do have to engage in combat to get the meats, but it shouldn't affect your HP for Wintertodt. And having Herblore unlocked means that you can actually make potions at Todd for XP. I think I would replace Stork's quest with this one. And I'm also surprised that Gertrude's cat isn't in there. And even though cats have been a bit of a traumatic experience for me in this game, I still think it's one of the top 10 early game quests. Doing this one allows you to raise and sell cats to get death runes. I think I'm going to replace Priest in Peril with this one because I think that can wait a while. I'd also replace the Restless Ghost with Daddy's Home because that unlocks a construction skill, which you can get a surprising amount of XP for if you stay at Wintertodt for a while in the early game, just by fixing the fire pot things. It is a mini quest technically, but I never said that those weren't included. I'd also move a few of the quests about, so I think that this is what my final tier list is going to look like. Let me know what changes you would make, or comment under this video with your opinion on the top 10 most popular quests for early game Hardcore Ironman players. If you enjoyed this video, you could check out this playlist next, which is where I'm documenting my first hardcore experience on the account vepoh. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.